So, good morning. My name's Eli. I'm here in cloudy Vancouver, Canada today, and I am one of the co-hosts, along with Tally, of this CMX chapter all about chapters. It is, of course, the most meta of all of us here. So, today, instead of having sort of our more informal conversations, I thought we'd give each of us a chance to show off, to show some of our favorite tools and apps we use day to day just to get work done. Because we as community managers, often have like this pretty reactive job, and anything we can find that can make us a little bit more efficient so we can, actually get all of our work done is going to, of course, be a win. So what these are is maximum 5-minute demos. And they're very informal. They're not about slides or anything really too fancy. All we're really going to do is turn on our screen share and show people like a quick view of like, here's the tool I use, here's how I apply it. And then some of us will be like, that's inspiring. I'm totally going to steal that idea. And others are like, it's not for me. 5 minutes later, we're on to the next demo. So that's kind of the flow. And I've got a couple people here who've already pre-committed. I've got Blake and Juan and Tally, actually, all of whom are going to maybe kick us off with the first couple of demos. But after that, we got no schedule. So we'll basically do this until we run out of your interest or 1 hour, whatever comes first. But I suspect that all of you are going to have other cool things you're going to want to share, and you're welcome to, of course, dive in as we wrap each demo and say like, I want to go next. I've got something cool. Or maybe we'll circle back to the beginning of the group and begin with other demos, because I suspect each of us have multiple secret tools in our back pockets. So with that, why don't I start off with the first one? And before I do that, I should just remind you, we're recording this session, and my ambition is that we take some of these little 5-minute demos and cut them into like these 5-minute videos, and I'll maybe put them up on LinkedIn, tag you, and all that. That said, because these are really last-minute informal demos, sometimes we're going to be demoing with live data. So if at any point you want me to just turn off the recording and say like, this is not a demo we're recording, Tally or I will just turn off the recording and we'll just make sure that's clipped completely out, because we totally get like some of this stuff maybe is not something you want to have out there in a more permanent record. So let me turn on the screen share and I'll walk you through the little tool that I use every day. So here we are. So as a community manager, I spend most of my day emailing people, texting people. I'm just moving text around from one place to another. And very little of it is actually totally unique. And therefore, I use a tool, I've used a couple tools over the years. Currently, it's called a tool called Typinator. In the past, I've used things called TextExpander, and there's different variants on it for Macs, PCs, probably Linux as well. But the core idea of it is you can create a text abbreviation, and then it will just automatically expand into a full piece of text. And you probably have run into this in the past because you can do this in things like Microsoft Word. And the real difference of this is, one, you get something which is a bit more sophisticated. And the other part of it is it works in every app on your computer. And some of these will also actually have like, mobile apps. You can also use like a custom keyboard on Android or on iOS. So you can actually use these shortcuts on your laptop or your mobile phone as well, which is especially nice because typing there is a super pain. So let me just show you some examples of what that really looks like. So here's what I do basically every time I create a file. I just write DDATE, and it expands into the date. So I can just always make sure I'm tagging things with the appropriate date. Another thing I do all the time is I'm going to write URLs out all the time. Kaboom, I just go .net and it spits out in the full URL. Or for my other event site, event, kaboom. Or like, oh, there's that webinar URL. And what exactly was that? and it spits it out. And so this is just a way for me to save some typing, just say like, what is that URL whenever I'm sending someone an email or in a web browser. The other thing, of course, is I have a stupidly long last name. So I could type out my whole name, which is like, oh, it's Elijah Vander Giesen, but that's pretty horrific. So I can just do EELI and spit it all out. I can also do that with my too long to say over the phone email address. So again, that's a nice way just to save me a couple characters. You can of course do this with longer things too. So maybe I just want to say like, oh, I want my whole home address to be spit out into this document. Boom. You just I type H address and it spits it out. But of course you could give it any kind of shortcut text. You can also go really long with that. So say you have like a big email and you're going to email 17 people, but you need to customize 1 or 2 lines for each one of those outreach emails. So here's an example of that. So I would go, I'm sending emails to makers. So I'd say like the body of a maker email. So I put like B maker as my keyboard thing. And you'll see it pops up here, a little thing where I can define out some autocomplete fields. So I can just say in the system, this has a name field, this has an app field. And so I'll just say, hey, John, help me about the app, and the app will be called, I don't know, Asylum Help. And I'll just click OK, and boom, it spits out the whole email, and you'll see it dropped in at the key places, these little, like these fill in the blank things. So that's a way for you to send out semi-customized messages via your own email client to a whole dozen people without having to go in to like MailChimp and create a whole big complicated email campaign when you're only doing like maybe 20 of them. And then the last thing I want to show you is you can also, of course, use it to do fun things. So you can basically give yourself the Slack emoji power where you go : type a thing and it auto completes. And you can do that again anywhere in your system. So I go like : rocket, and oh, there it is. It brings up a little pop-up, and I can type that, and here's my rocket thing. Or I want to do an emoji like, oh, how about a smiley? There we go, smiley face with tear. Of course, that's what I want. Boom. And so that is how I used this TextExpander thing just to save me a little bit of grief every day. And it actually has stats showing that I've saved myself actually like hundreds of hours over the years in just typing time through a tool like this. So that's my quick demo. Who wants to go next? Blake or Juan, hands up.
Blake?
It was very cool, Eli. And we have some questions later.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, why not? Well, we're prepping up for the next thing. Why don't you ask some quick questions? Go for it.
So it works with you just need to be installed on the computer, and then like it's working with every other app or stuff that I have, or it's
That's
just
right.
for
yeah, it's not app specific. It's basically a system-wide utility app. So it could work in anything that has a text field on your system.
Great. Fantastic.
So Blake, you're going to go first. We've decided. So I'm going to, if you want, you can take the share screen utility away from me.
Right, yeah. So for demo today, just really talking about chapters. Let me just set the stage really quick before I share my screen. So for a lot of the chapter programs, you're running events. And then, hey, this thing called the pandemic, and now everyone's doing like virtual events, right? So depending on the scale of your chapter program, it could be kind of small or it could be enterprise. Look at like what Duolingo does, where they just have thousands of chapters and members are pretty much running it. So you're going to have different governance kind of levels of either like chapter leads running it or like staff assisting. And so there's so many different models there. So I'm not going to get into the weeds of that. But one of the things that we kind of run into as a challenge on running events is we're kind of gated to the tools we can use, right? And what we have in the budget, right? So not everybody can afford Zoom licenses. That's why Derek Anderson originally started Bevy, right? So in the startup grind, they had like 800 chapters. You can't really afford like 800 Zoom licenses and those type of deals. And so when you're running different events, you've got all these different tools from Zoom to Bevy and all these other great things, right? And then for chapter lead, sometimes you have these big events and you want really nice, shiny bells and whistles. And so you've got different tools out there like the OBS and all these things, right? But then the problem with a lot of these tools is that you're having to download software. So then suddenly like you're working with a speaker, presenter, guest, chapter leader, trying to get the software installed, right? So that was like, okay, so that was a nightmare. So when I'm working with different chapters and people, you know, basically I was looking for a software that was easy to use, browser-based, no software to install, B, really shiny. So when we ran really big events, so if I'm Elijah or Juan, I got a really big event, I've just got Elon Musk like on, I may not want to do like the kind of the run-of-the-mill type of event, right? And also it's something that's going to be like scalable, right? So if we've got chapters, we need something that's going to be easy, something for people to onboard people with and they can be operational with, because you don't want to get pinged like every time someone has an issue. And even Zoom a year later, people are still having to rely on IT and other stuff for that. So the tool that I came up with is a tool called Restream.io, and I'll just quickly show that. Let me share. I guess I'll do entire screen. Sorry. I should know that'd be better, but whoa. So you can see that looks okay?
It does. Go ahead.
Okay. Right. So with Restream.io, basically, so what you're going to kind of look at from a business perspective is their professional package. This isn't like a software plug for them, but really, so you get the white label type deal, right? And so for it, what I'm essentially looking at is for the bigger events, and there's a couple of different ways to do this. You can integrate this in with Zoom and other types of things, or basically for me, just working with kind of at a level for the big events, and then with anyone that's essentially a chapter lead, they can come in and basically set up their own shows. And so you're kind of gated here that you've got one admin for your account. If you're going to get enterprise, you might different level, because then at that scale is like you might want a license of Restream for North America versus like Israel versus like Asia versus like Europe, right? And so when you're going into the like event thing, the thing I kind of glanced over is like generally like if you've got a TV station and you're doing programming, you know, it's basically you're trying to fill that up. And the same thing with the chapter lead. So if you just had like one account and say you've got chapter teams in Italy and France, but you've only got one license, and the sort of, you don't want people like conflicting with, you know, the different times and everyone trying to use the same thing, right? So you can easily segment it out for it. So it runs about $50 if you need like separating out different types of admin accounts, right? So you've got like different instances that could essentially be like their own TV channels, if that makes sense. And then within using this, it's basically going to be live stream browser based, and I can stream this to any social media channel where I have an account. LinkedIn Live is like really the only one. It's a little bit of a chore at this point to get up and going, but essentially I just come in and create an event, and as we see like with one here, I've got the link, or sorry, the YouTube link where I can go grab it, and I've got like Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch integrated in. And when I come into the studio, just to quickly show kind of the simplicity of this, I'll take a little bit of a second. Demos.
Your live screen sharing, it always freaks out. But yeah, so you're basically taking a source video like, say, a Zoom is, and then through this, it's coming through here and then going to multiple live streaming services.
Yeah, so you get to pick. So like in this case, I'll get to, I will turn off my video, so that's a little bit too confusing. But essentially here, so like, you know, which channels do I want to broadcast on? So sometimes I'll see a brand or like a chapter only dedicate to Twitch. It really is going to depend on the region. But the good thing is you can do multi-channel. So instead of just some teams only broadcasting to Twitch, the same 10 people, it's like, hey, if you've got like 500 followers on Twitter, 1,000 followers on Facebook, whatever your case is, or, you know, 3,000 on YouTube, blast it out to all of them. And then the beauty of that is once it's out there, it auto archives, right? So then the only work that you're going to do after the fact is if you want to slice and dice it down into individual segments, right? So you're just going to, so with the basic package that I have today, it's really just going to be out like one instance per channel. There's other ones that have like multiple Facebook pages, multiple YouTube channels, all that stuff. You're going to have to go to larger options. But the beauty of this is just, for the bigger events where you really want, so if I'm Juan in Colombia and I want to do something nice for the chapter, I can easily go in here, create an event, and set that up. And then I'll walk through a couple of features here. In the admin area, you can have up to 10 people, up to 10 speakers. And then you give the speakers this nice little link, and they can come in through their browser, and immediately as they come on, you can maximize their screen, turn them on, mute them, all that great stuff. A private chat over here. And so in the private chat, it's just the speaker chat. Because how many times, like if we're like all live with our speakers now and we've got some inside baseball stuff, like stuff here, like, hey, Juan, your video's not playing, or stuff you don't want like everybody on the stream to know about. So you get like a private chat area there. The next things that you have really quickly on this is like, how do you actually want to show people on here? So you get like from cinema mode to different ways you can slice and dice, basically looking at the screen. The other thing, really quickly going through this is the chat segments and basically aggregates the chat from all the channels that you're sharing to, right? I've seen some teams have one person deployed on Facebook, one person deployed on Twitter, one person deployed on YouTube, and it really becomes a cluster and a mess. So what Restream does—
that team right now, that's me.
Yeah, so what Restream does, it consolidates everything into this chat tab. So I've got like, regardless of wherever I'm broadcasting, all the chats get feed in through here. And if any comment comes in or a question, I can click on it and it'll highlight here. It'll show the icon of the channel it's in. It'll show the username of the person asking the question. And then for the person like Juan or anyone else, it's like they don't have to go like, where's that question? Because the chat could be going off the charts. They can cleanly see. So we've got Barbara with a question that's on Facebook, and it's right there captioned that's really nicely into the screen. And so it's a really nice way to kind of engage with the audience and some of that stuff that's a little bit harder to do with it. Two other things really quickly on the caption screen. So basically on mine, I can just basically bump out, like when I welcome people onto the screen, it's nice to have like some extra captions, and you can do like in the Q&A portion, you can bump it out. So you just got like some CTAs, some stuff in there that you can do, and you can program these per event or have like some ones. And then on the nice side of this, when we get into the graphics side, is like things here, you can have all the participants' names displayed. So if you ever watch like a news station or a sports channel, you see the names of the people listed in their little like video camera boxes, which you don't get on a lot of tools. So you can have that checkbox. You can put logos up here in the top right. So you can put in the chapter name. So you could be like CMX Colombia, CMX Connect chapters. You can do like overlays. So if you got some fancier stuff here, it'll pull in here where it's got that. I'm not using that because it's just like the blah, blah, blah stuff. And then you can do stuff like video countdown. So I could just come in here, click that right before the show starts. And it's not working.
Right. No, but that's super cool. Like that, you can sort of take all these multiple sources and basically create like a studio effect. You can like live mix all these different cameras and sources of video together and then take it out to multiple sources. I like that.
You hide that. And then you've got like some video backgrounds and static backgrounds, and you can upload your own backgrounds and all that great stuff. So basically for really theming your event, depending on the location or depending on the chapter, you've got some flexibility as far as that stuff goes. And then just everything you're using is out of the box. When you want to go live, you got the stuff up here. And so you got just for basically $50 a month, and you times it out by how granular you want to get it, because just it's like per admin. And so you're basically treating every license like its own TV channel. So it's basically like CNN USA versus like CNN Europe versus CNN Australia, and really sort of be diligent for how you do that. you give a quick training basically to any of your chapter leaders, and this thing's so basic that they're going to be able to run with it. And then there's going to be a little bit working with IT you're going to have to get set up for the channels, just basically integrating it in with the channels, and it's all like just click, just signing in to the account, authorizing this as an app, all that great stuff. You can share your audio, video, screen, blah, blah, blah. You can store up to the videos here. It also archives to the channel. And then you can also go back after the fact, and I'll just show like one screenshot to end it out, where basically you can just do like micro content. So on one variety show that I do, I go back out and segment it out. And so basically there you just got like a nice screenshots, and for no money at all, you've got something that looks basically really scrappy, really easy to use, and pretty scalable for getting out and really helping to visually separate yourself out from everything else that's going on. Engage different audiences that you have out there for like social media, instead of just pushing out like Unsplash, big graphics to them on social media. Really a way for them to get involved. And typically when I run the events, the interesting thing that I'm seeing is like, so I'll get people from like Uzbekistan, which is like why you see it like in a browser tab, because I know I'll like forget that. I'll have people from Uzbekistan, Jordan. So I'll hit like North America, Europe, and Asia, regardless when I'm doing it. So that's what's kind of fascinating. And you'll see kind of like basically 3 waves of your audience when you're doing these, right? So for the chapters, it kind of defies when you do the live stream events. One, the audience that's watching it when you're doing it, and then your biggest audience, at least what I'm seeing with a lot of the live stream events that we're doing, the audience is developers, software professionals, but most of the views is in the first 24 hours after the event. So people are treating it more like Netflix, right? So usually like for chapter programs, you want people to attend, and this, because of the last year, and there's 5 billion webinars and virtual events now, is like people may not want to watch it like right away or have a chance. And so now it's like for your chapter, you've got kind of like a very dynamic way for them they might have missed the event when it happened, but they're all watching it within the first 24 hours, right? And so that's where you're going to get a lot of the audience. And then your third is like where you can put the micro content and clips and put that out across the channels, and that can be like a really good like third wave of that content. So hopefully I didn't go over my time, but that's all I had for today.
Cool. Thank you so much. And I think we just got Emily in, which is fabulous. And after Emily, then we'll move to Juan. I just want to do Emily first because you may have to leave early today.
Hey, everyone. Sorry about, I don't know what is going on with my machine, but Safari was the answer. I don't know, last time I used it, but here I am. Good to see you all. I have recently started building out a community CRM in Airtable. And I just realized it's going to be a little difficult to share because of PII, and I don't really know.
So what I would love to do, and you missed this, is I'm going to turn the recording right off. So we will not record this section. But please, everyone else, remind me to turn this back on after your session.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's really great to see how others are pushing it farther. So Juan, it is your turn now.
Okay, thank you. I am Juan from Colombia. I'm going to share my slide. Sorry about that. Okay. Are you seeing the slide? Okay, yes. Yes. We are talking about business community. We use some demos, some tools. That is my partner, Alexander Parrales. We are one of that 800 chapters that have Star Grind in the city of Manizales. We know that Baby and Star Grind, and later we know CNX. And we have some communities like Me Cowork, that is a co-working space. Little is a little, but is pioneer here in the city of Manizales. Manizales have 500,000 people. That is a medium city here in Colombia. And we are leading some program publics that work with business or or some entrepreneurs like Origen Caldas that is they buy some aliments like coffee and other products like that. Okay, we have some memes. I am going to translate. The we are from a word like project manager and entrepreneur and innovation, and everything is going to grow that community doing the same in the year 2019. Other meme that we have here is that have a lot of scope and follows or have an real scope, real impact in your members. And the leader of the memes is Batman and Robin. Here in Latin, in Colombia, we are thinking that community manager is just a person that work with social media. That's not true. The community manager have a lot of tools that is become to be some strategy, and we are working of that. Well, we have here some example. We have that community, that presential community 2 years ago, before pandemic, before COVID, that we do, co-working, 500 feet square is really tiny. And we made a lot of events like 82 event and have three community active that we women entrepreneurs that be here that the club English, but I don't understand something like English, looking for better speak English right now, and anonymous entrepreneurs that be like alcoholics anonymous that have 12 steps before we accept that entrepreneurs and businessmen como how that and become with this community best co-working space Manizales in the year 2018 like that, and we obtained in 8 months a financial breaking point doing that community manager like that. And well, we have right here the inbound marketing applying in the community manager to attract. We attract talking about our necessities, our opportunities, like businessman, like industry. Later we engage uh, taking solution about that necessity or opportunity, and we delight talking about that case, that experiences that we have, like businessman or like industry, like that. And we use 5 simple steps that we establish one big purpose that become more bigger than the institution, than the city, than Colombia. We dream Colombia. Well, right now we are working with a program, public program called it Software Valley, that we are working with 3,000 businessmen in Medellin. Big purpose is change Medellin like a big city working in technology. Ideal profile is be like businessman that work, that want to learn to be a bigger businessman, the technology businessman or industry. We have some basic agreements that we don't talk about politics or social or any other issues, and we have some periodicity and content formats like streaming in Facebook, like videos in YouTube, like some events, some webinars, and we make some periodicity that we can say that full that community like that. We use a lot WhatsApp groups. I know that that is a basic tool, but we use it here in the culture of Latin, and that works like that. And okay, is what I share about here in Colombia. We are so basic. We are working so much about community manager industry. And that is the tools and the demo we have about communities and focus in the user groups.
We don't hear you, Eli.
Okay.
Well, there we go. I was muted. There we go. Yeah. So I appreciate that. I think WhatsApp has really been a key tool for me working with people basically outside of North America. Like, you know, people aren't going to always respond to email, but WhatsApp is the secret way to get in front of people and make sure that you're getting their attention. And when I discovered I didn't have to do it on my phone, where I'm a bad typer, but instead there's desktop apps that will allow me to participate in WhatsApp, I became the world's happiest man. And I threw a couple of those links into the chat.
Emily, if it's okay, Eli, in stealing the thunder. So when you share that Slack had bumps in your community, what is the community? Who is the person? Because I'm running Slack community for our leaders specifically, and it's going well. So just interested to hear why, what is your experience?
The problem is our community members don't have Slack accounts. They're classroom educators or within school districts. School districts don't have Slack enterprise. These educators don't have accounts, and they could sign up for a trial, which is only for, I think, 90 days. And, you know, we could have a free community, but our company's legal team doesn't want to host that because they want record of all of the conversations. So we've hit a few roadblocks, and I would love it if someone knows if there's a way for an educator to have a non-business, so you have a personal account to Slack that's free, but then they can join because Slack just not common in the education industry. So that's why I was wondering if does WhatsApp allow you to do rooms though, or it's just like a big?
So I can say that somebody needs to open the space, the workspace, and it can be free, and then people need to join with their personal emails. I did it. I opened a workspace for myself, not related to my work, because I wanted to do that for something that didn't happen. But I just created a workspace, signed in, and it's free. And if you have local leaders or somebody that is leading the local communities or gathering, and it's outside of the company, but I understand your legal team doesn't want to have it. So it's an option they can do, and it's supposed to be free as far as I know. I know that Elizabeth from Slack, the community manager from Slack, is on CMX, so you can also ask her if they have other cases like yours.
Yeah, and it's less of a problem. I know Elijah said that people aren't going to join it. I actually have educators who are like, oh yeah, we would use Slack because it has a phone app. Like they would use that just for this community. But I need to look at it again. Maybe creating free personal accounts by the educators, then they could join the group that we set up from the company. I need to double check. I need to look into it a little bit more. We kind of, my IT team kind of brushed it off, and I was like, I thought you could do it. So maybe I need to take another look.
Yeah, Emily, I think that's an interesting approach where, you can sort of use merge Slack groups. So you could sort of have everyone in sort of one space. I think the only limit you'd find is those Slack to Slack things are sort of limited to a single room or topic area. So you couldn't have multiple breakouts easily.
That could work, at least to start. Yeah.
Fantastic. It does. I don't believe that Slack fits for every community. By the way, it needs to fit the audience, the target audience. But it's interesting to check because it's much better than WhatsApp from my experience, for my needs. Eli, do you want me to share my tool?
Yeah, let's go for it. Yes, please.
So we are recording. We will see if we need to stop. It depends if you want to see further. So actually, like Emily, we're using some tools in Elementor. I'm from Elementor. I'm running the Meetup program. So we have a Monday for the project management part, and I use Monday board to do the operation of the Meetup events. And my problem was that we till now we used meetup.com, and now we transferred to Bevy. But when using meetup.com, I needed all the events to move them to my Monday board, and I was doing that manually for a long period of time, and it was like 20 events, 30 events, and I just was wasting a lot of time. So I looked an option how to do that, and I discovered Zapier that has like already meetup.com as a like a tool there, and I just created, and I will show you this one window. Okay, let me know that you are seeing. Yeah, I don't see you. I don't like it, but so let me know that you are seeing my screen. So I created a Zap. Yes. So because Meetup already has like its own Zap and Zapier, so I was able to create a Zap that's taking. Let me go inside. Okay. So and by the way, Monday, the other tool that I'm using also is on Zapier, so it was pretty easy to do. So every time that event is published on Meetup, I'm asking it to be popped up to my Monday board. I define the fields that I want to be chosen. So this is like setting up my account and everything. And on Monday board, I needed to choose which columns or which information I want to be presented. So this here, for example, I need the date, I need to the country, the RSVP count, which is not being updated with time, so it's not really helping me. But like initial information, my topic, the link to the event, because I do want to come and visit easily my the events, and then I have it on my Monday board. Popping in, I have like incoming list, and then I'm just sending it to different to like the month that is relevant, and I'm doing my operations, which means sending emails out, following up with the leader, sending automated emails going out from Monday, which is a very good feature that I like there, that I'm able to just automate emails by triggers to the organizers. So it really made my life easier with this one. Unfortunately, as we move to Bevy, I need to find a new way to do that, as Bevy doesn't have any existing integration with Zapier. So I need to like try to see how I can do that.
So Tali, so I've actually talked with Guillaume, and there is apparently a way for you to do some Zapier integrations. It's just harder because it's not built in. Exactly, you got to go into webhooks, which will be harder work. It's true.
Yes. Yeah, this is my like when I will have like a bit free time after we will launch officially our transition. So I'm planning to do that. Hopefully, I will go to Guillaume to help if I need to. I use Zapier also to integrate the application. We have an application for Become a Leader. It's on our website. And then from there, it's going to Google Sheets. So from Google Sheets, I needed information, again, to help me with the application process, because it's a process. So I also connected the information from Google Sheets to Monday, choosing the specific fields I do need to for the application. I can show you this, but we need not to record it.
So so I also, my life was changed when I figured out that there were apps out there in the world that do this kind of like pasteboard kind of thing. And there's loads of different apps on PCs, on Macs that all basically do the same thing. I'm on a Mac and use Pastebot, but they're all essentially the same thing, which is basically, in my case, I just hit like Command Option V to bring up my paste. And so what it does is it shows me like basically the last 100 things I copied and pasted. And then just like my other text expansion tool, I can use this anywhere across the app, and you could program it and be very sophisticated. But mostly I just say like, what was that email address I copied and pasted a half an hour ago? It's there. And that saves me infinite grief because I'm not smart enough like the two of you to set up these Zapier integrations. So I'm using something called Pastebot right now. But I think they're all very, very similar at their heart. And gosh, they should be built into every operating system. They're life-changing.
So are you
Anyone
on the
else?
free version of Pastebot, or did you pay for it?
I happily paid. I was like, I don't care how much you charge me. I am super excited to give you a lot of money.
And Talia, did you say yours was a Chrome extension? It looks like Pastebot's a separate app. Sometimes I have
called Clipboard History. Yeah, it's called Clipboard History Pro, and it's from extension. Yeah, I guess that's something that is like system operated. It's even better than just the Chrome. I will add it to our doc. I also have a color picker, by the way, extension that when sometimes I'm doing some designs, so it's really helping me to.
You should show that off. I'm going to show you share screen. Go for
it. Fantastic. So I do want to show it on something interesting. So let's open an image. One sec. No, just a second, sorry. Fill in the silence. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. No, you lost me. Are you here?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, okay, great. I had a loss of connection. Great. So I'm sharing an image because to see that you need to see something. So no, okay. You're seeing my browser or only the image?
Just the image.
Yeah, I need to do another type of share screen. Okay, so share screen, entire screen, just to make sure you're seeing. Great. So this is the image, and this is it. It's called color picker, and then I want to choose like see what's the number of this specific pink, and then I can see above. Did you saw that? And then it's showing me like the specific color I just saw. And you can do that on any website, on any asset, whatever you like and want. So if you're doing a bit of design, it's really helpful.
Yeah, to get the actual right color as opposed to something that's almost the right color.
Yes. If you have like a strict brand managers and designers, you want to be right.
Love it. That looks really great. I want to do one quick demo of something called Dscript. And what it is, in my opinion, sort of the future of video editors for people who are bad at video editing. So what Dscript does is something that's quite magic, which is it does, basically it takes the power we already have around doing machine transcription, and it ties it right into your video. And that allows you to do some pretty powerful things. So I just like what I do after each webinar is I upload it into the system and it spits out a script. And it will do like, some kind of basic attempt at trying to like say like, who's this person, put their name in there, and then from there. So that seems interesting. So you can like go through here, edit your transcript for your event. If you're trying to create subtitles, you can edit it through here. But what's cool is the text and the video are totally linked. So let's go here and say, I want to click over here. I click here, the video jumps over there. So that's really nice. But what's super cool is, what if I say like, oh, actually, I don't want that sentence. If I just copy and paste a sentence and delete it, it is deleted
Eli,
from the video. Go ahead.
your share screen, you share
Didn't turn on the
screen.
share screen. Of course I didn't.
Yeah.
Thank you for stopping
We
me.
were very focused, and I just.
So yeah, no, thank you for cutting in. So yeah, so this is Dscript, and what it does is it ties this text to the video, and that's super amazing because you can make really nice edits really easily to video, because editing video is hard and time consuming. But we got this thing here which Rebecca says like, oh, so just to back it up a bit, I'm like, well, that's actually not necessary for the video. So I'm just going to highlight it and delete it. And that section is now no longer in the video. And so it means you can edit text, which is easy, and it makes edits to the video as well, which is amazing. And you'll see down here in the lower bar, you'll see like, oh, like she has like this big gap between that and privilege. And I'm like, well, it was kind of unnecessary. Let me just tighten it up. So I'm just going to drag that and bring it over here. And there we go. That's going to just like tighten up the little section. And so that allows you to make super quick edits to the video from the script. You can also, of course, edit this because machine translation is often wrong. And so you go like, oh, it's not actual. Let's just find like a mistake in here. I've seen a really big shift at first. Okay, so this is kind of weird. So I'm just going to delete that as well. Just say I don't need at first. So I'm just going to get rid of that, delete it, boom. And so once you've done this and edited this, you can then go and share it. And because you've got this text, you can do a couple interesting things. You could export it just as a straight up transcript. So you could like say like, I want a transcript of this video. Boom, done. But you could also, of course, go and export it in all kinds of different other ways. So if you are super pro, you can export it in like Final Cut Pro or Logic Pro. So just think of this as like your rough edit tool, and then your pros can like really tweak it up. You can also create subtitled files for this. And you can upload it to YouTube, or you can create things like these little audiograms, which are just like sort of like little social media friendly files. But the thing I most often do with this is I take a webinar, I do a quick review, and I say like, oh, here was a really interesting sentence. I'm gonna just cut and paste that to like minute section. Basically from there, I'm just gonna go and clip that into something new. And you clip it into something new, and then I now have like a little, 20-second like video clip that I can then share on social media. And it's a nice little post-event thank you I can do it to sort of, promote the work that happened from my event. So that's what I do with Dscript, and it made me feel much more capable of doing video edits, even though I'm actually terrible at doing video edits.
That because so often we have a whole video team, but they don't have time to make edits to our webinars. And as we're sharing archives and building those into other learning tools and other resources we want to make available to the community, it's nice to be able to add the closed captioning on and to grab those sound bites and use on social. I think is really smart. So thank you for sharing that one.
Yeah, no, pleasure. I think it's pretty amazing, and they're adding features super fast. Like it is just go boom, 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 boom. So they're on a roll at the moment. Otherwise, that's sort of some of the demos I wanted to share. Anyone else have something else they want to quickly share while they're at it?
Can you share the link of this?
Yeah, totally. I'll add that into the chat.
Yes, fantastic.
Yeah. And it's like $12 a month. And frankly, it's another thing I'm super happy to pay for.
Definitely. So I need to go, unfortunately, today a bit early, like on time. If you want to So Elijah is here.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I can take it from here, but I really appreciate you coming and joining us today.
Thank you. See you next month.
Ciao, catch up.
Bye, guys.